interrupt regular programming to bring you a message from Her Majesty's government. Please stand by and await further information. This is not a drill. They have arrived.
Ready then?
Let's do it.
So we are here, Trade Legends, episode 5, and we have 2 completely new guests on, and this is a bit more of a plumbing special the next 2 days.
Yep. Well, because
We've got Andy Cam.
Hey, don't forget I love plumbing.
He loves plumbing. And we've also got Jack, who's representing Big Wipes, one of the biggest names in...
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Just in case it wasn't completely obvious, you know.
Yeah.
but it's a plumbing special because we're currently right in the middle of the biggest and I'd probably say the best plumbing trade show. You both got your tags still on from the show. Installer show at Coventry. So we've all been at that today.
And you've been working there today?
Yeah, working hard yesterday and today, selling product, directly to sort of end users, loads of fun.
Yeah.
God, it's just so good to be back.
And
at
you've
shows.
been doing your normal?
I've been working for Condensate Pro, so I've been on there just telling people over and over and over again what it is and how, and that's why I'm a bit hoarse because obviously I can't speak very much, but it's been good. Footfall's been really good, and the exhibitors were, well, let's say they were a lot better than the tool fair that we went to a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So the footfall's been really good, and we had a lot of people coming around there. Yeah, it's been good.
Do you think that helps then being more specific, just purely plumbing? Did they have an electrical bit? Was Nipex wrong?
Well, it's no point asking me because I've been there and I've not seen anything yet. Because the first day I got there, and when you go to a show, all the people that you've been talking to on social media for the last, 2 years since the last show, because it's one of the first ones we've done, they want to talk to you. So you start talking to people and you don't actually get to see anything, you just meet people. And then today I was on a stand all day. So tomorrow, the third day, is the only day I'll see anything.
Right.
But I think there is some electrical, small electrical section.
Light bulbs.
Yeah, mainly light bulbs.
I mean, I've been around it quite a few times and I've not seen any electrical stuff. But I'll tell you what, like you've just said there, I was on the stand and I was dying to go to the loo. And people keep coming and you're talking to them. And I went to try to get to the toilet, which was only the other side. And it took me 25 minutes. And because people want to come up and talk to you, they know you're on social media. The biggest problem I found was I nearly myself trying to get to the toilet. No, it is. You can't get to...
Did you have that problem today, Jack?
I mean, I didn't suffer with that almost at all. But then again, I'm not a social media.
Then Andy's got like super fans and they'll say, Andy, I'm just going to toilet. Oh, that's all right, I'll come with you.
And I hold that for you. I'll make you right. So what I did today, I thought it'd be a better idea. Save myself all that trouble and having to wee myself. I put a plastic bag inside my trousers and I've just been peeing in there.
Fuel crisis. Fuel crisis.
I wonder what that smell was.
That's why my car don't work.
I wonder what that puddle was, actually.
So you went to Tool Fair, I went to Tool Fair. We spoke about that on the last show, or maybe the show before, because it was the first show back since COVID.
Yeah.
And it was busy with the footfall of people, but there wasn't that many exhibitors. But judging on the time I've spent at this show, it's absolutely massive and it's absolutely heaving. So it just felt like business as usual. Did you? Because obviously you do a lot of shows.
Yeah, you do.
Every show I've been to, there's a Big Wipes stand there.
Because you've done 3 this month, haven't you? Have they got better?
Yeah, we did NMBS at the beginning of the month, but that's a merchant show, so consumers can't go to that. And then we had Tool Fair, and you're right, footfall was quite good from delegates, but there was about half the amount of suppliers there. And then today, packed out with exhibitors. In fact, next year it's moving to the NEC. I don't know if everyone knows that. And it's getting bigger because it's so popular. And yesterday was just rammed all day long. Today was possibly a little bit quiet, but footfall was still, amazing, really.
I sort of talked to the guys from Nipex yesterday about the tool fair, and I was saying about, it was low on numbers or, it was low on the exhibitors. And they said it was the best show that they'd ever sold at. They had more, they sold more that day
at the Tool Fair.
Yeah,
that was exactly,
we did. Yeah, we did pretty good there. I think maybe there was just pent up demand for going to a show. So People like to spend money at the shows.
And also because there was less exhibitors there, the exhibitors that were there, you got more time with the delegates because they weren't spread out through, they didn't have, 200 exhibitors to see, they only had 100. So you got almost like twice as long with them.
So where was the other one that you guys did that?
Also at the Rico.
At the Rico.
First week, yeah.
At least you got,
I feel like I live at the Rico. Honest to God. The Premier Inn at Binley and the TGI's next door, they're like, oh yeah, see Big Wipes again. Yeah, we're here again.
I'm just gonna say something. So every week at the start of the podcast, I say to Alex, "Don't tap the bench." We've got 3 bench tappers today, and none of you will know you're doing it, but you're all tapping the bench. So I just gotta say, for Jack's benefit,
don't tap the bench.
And I don't want to come across as like I'm in charge or anything.
What? I mean, are you getting told off?
No,
You're getting told off on the podcast.
Not at all.
Andy, that's the thanks you get for coming in. Don't tap the table. What an arsehole.
But actually, do you notice it, Jack? I notice it straight away when people start tapping, and I think, can't say anything.
Are you two communicating via...
Well, hang on a bit, then why did you say something if you can't
because
say something?
All 3 of you are doing it. And if he's got to edit it, and it's all like... Anyway.
It's only you banging. He's the only one I've heard banging.
Amber, I'm with you. Andy,
I had to say something for Jack's benefit.
Oh, they should have a spongy table.
But so install a show. I don't know if you all know this, but it's
Not me.
I knew this would happen, so that's why I thought don't say anything because I knew this would happen.
Anyway, back to
Install a show is different to all the other shows we go to because it's like a what do you call it, like a mecca. Everyone comes to it, and it's more of a 3-day event. People stay over. Like last night, everyone's out for dinner. There's like an award dinner. We have a sit-down dinner. Everyone meets at the bar after the show. It's not like it comes to 4 o'clock, the show shuts, everyone goes home, or you pop in for a couple of hours. A lot of people come. They stay the night. They stay in the hotels. We go out for a night out. We're going to the casino. You were in the casino till 4 in the morning. You're out.
Only 1 o'clock if my wife's listening.
You woke up at 7. And then you're at the show all day, and no wonder you look tired. And
Andy, this is the thing.
I've got my hands off the table now. I'm getting slagged off.
Do you know, Andy's grassed you into your missus about what time you got home.
But it is the show. It's not like a normal show, is it? That's what I'm trying to get the point.
You're just slagging me off, mate. That's all you're doing. Bastard. It is. I mean, to be honest with you, years ago we used to go to shows. You'd get people like Plum Centre get you on a coach, take you down somewhere. You'd go in, you'd have a look round. Within 2 or 3 hours, you'd be back. You'd be bored, and then you'd be on the coach going on. Whereas now, because of social media, I think personally is that you can talk to people. You can talk to the manufacturers, you can talk to the installers, you can talk to your mates, you can talk to other people. They all get together, and it's a bit like you built rapport up with all these people already, so you feel like you know them. People know you because they've seen you doing videos and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice to get yourself out there. A lot of people come up to you to talk to you, and I think it's great because there are a lot of really good people like that. I mean, I know that electricians do it as well, but I don't know why the plumbers seem to... Why do you think the plumbers seem to be so friendly to each other and want to help each other?
Yeah, it does seem that way. Like when we spoke about Twitter, that started off the plumbing community really for social media, and it's sort of extended now. Twitter's not a big platform for plumbers anymore. It's moved on to Instagram and other things, but the sort of group camaraderie that we've got is always at these shows, and everyone's always looking forward to it, and it just has become like an event. Is that something that you've noticed?
Yeah, I mean, Big Wipes are, they're pretty pan trade. Builders buy them, carpenters buy them, paint and decorators buy them, everyone buys them. But our biggest engagement, our biggest reach, our biggest interaction on social media is without doubt with the plumbing and the heating and the gas engineers. I don't necessarily...
The dirtiest chunk that is. That's what it is.
Okay. I'll tell you one story though, Jack. I've got all your stuff. I know you've got this here that you're giving away or whatever. But I went to do a radiator and I thought, I'll do it live. It's upstairs, I'll do it live. I put the dust sheet over my head and I cut this pipe, and honestly, I couldn't stop the water black squirting all over. I was like, oh no. Anyway, I managed to get the fitting on, and I came out from under, and there was black all over the pink, and it was wallpaper and it soaked in, and I was like, oh. I ran downstairs, I got them big wipes, I was wiping that. It did a bit, but not as much. And then I got that spray, and it was like I'd sprayed a magic spray on it. It just all disappeared. I was like, thank flipping heck for that, because it was like, so that for me was like, whoa.
We got that all day today, probably before midday. Had about 30 people say that exact example, taking the radiator off the wall, the sludge going on the carpet, or albeit up the wall. And, and you sort of talk to them and you say, I don't really know what I did in that situation before Big Wipes. I think
with these then, because I was talking to you about it outside, which came first? Did the wipes come first, or was the spray?
No, the white the wipes definitely came first, and then not that long after we launched the wipes, people were saying, we need your cleaning formula available in like a trigger spray so that we can apply it to large, surface areas or really dirty machinery or equipment, things like that. And when you use the wipes in conjunction with the spray, you actually save wipes, because as the wipes clean, the fabric is recharged with the power spray, so you save wipes. So it's a great addition.
I mean, do you find as well, going to the types of shows that obviously we've been to the last few weeks, that's where these ideas come from?
Yeah.
How do you, if you're so heavily invested in the wipe, is it the customer that says, oh, well, the spray, is it from these shows? Is it just from...
I'll tell you what the best example of that is the van bracket. Because we didn't do the van bracket for years. And I mean, you guys will probably corroborate, I'm sure they will. The first thing that rolls out of your van when you open the door is your tub of big wipes. And then it rolls off down the road, or it rolls out and the lid cracks on the floor and then they dry out. So it's modelled on, it's nothing, that exceptional. It's modelled on a bicycle sort of water bottle holder. But people go mad for it. I know, Pete, you both got them in your vans, and they're just so handy. Because you fix them firmly and conveniently close down. You're not looking for them all the time.
Like you said, Jack, it falls out the van and it doesn't roll down the road. It rolls right underneath the middle of the van where you can't reach it. So you're like you have to get a bit of pipe and then scoop it back out. So I was going to say those van holders are great, aren't they?
But coming back to what you said, that came from the industry. That came from end users. Said, what would be really useful if we had somewhere to keep them, so that they don't get damaged and crack the lids and roll away and things like that. So that's why these shows are so important, because you will, for better or for worse, and whether you avoid us at shows or whether you can't wait to see us and you make a beeline for us, that's why we do so many. That's why, we seem to be everywhere, because, it's the only time we really get that contact with end users, because our day-to-day handling of the product and the selling of the product is selling it into the merchants. So you don't speak to the people that are actually using it. So that's why we come to so many shows.
Is the liquid, is it like a KFC recipe? Is it secret, or is it something
Kentucky Fried Cleaner?
Yeah.
Well, is it a top secret, or is it?
I mean, it's not top secret. The ingredients are all on the back. What it is it's
Tell us, come on.
Yeah, I'm hooked up to a lie detector here. What it is, it's a delicate blend of skin conditioners to protect your hands, for power solvents. The formula is also dermatologically tested, and it meets the European cosmetic grading. So it's very powerful at cleaning. It's very kind to your skin. It's also antibacterial and antiviral, which is, antiviral is something that we were accredited earlier this year. It's free of artificial preservatives, sulfates and parabens. So on the face of it, you think, God, what a desperately dull product, it's just wipes. But there's quite a lot of clever technology that actually goes into the product to deliver what it does in a practical sense when you actually need it to get you out that there's quite a lot of clever technology that goes in there.
How long, when was it first on the market? Is it
so sort of early 2000s? So probably 2002, 2003. Our first customers were Costco and Dulux Deck Centres. Quite quickly, Macro, customers that you wouldn't necessarily associate big wipes with nowadays. You probably
Do you still sell to some of those? Or?
We do. I mean, Macro we don't, but we do. We still sell to Costco.
Yeah, what happened to Macro? Are they still a thing?
I think they're still going.
When I was a kid, we used to play cricket. I used to go every now and then. They'd be like, "Oh, we're going to go to Macro and buy cricket bats."
I always used to just go and buy sweets and then undercut the tuck shop at school and then get
so
suspended.
like a big discount. Was it like the original discount?
They had a really big non-food offering. Do you remember you could get bikes, safety boots, big wipes, you could get all types of stuff. But their main business was wholesale food. Fresh food and frozen food, and that's what they've reverted back to now. So if the one nearest us in Reading, they've pretty much all but sacked off all the non-food stuff, and their focus is food and beverages, things like that. But I think that move happened more. That move was expedited, particularly when Tesco bought Booker, which were part of Macro, and of course. To stop tapping the table. I'm getting glared at.
I wish I'd never said it.
But no, I'm glad you did. But anyway, so then they focused more on the food side of the whole thing. So sort of all the non-food stuff got kiboshed.
So when I was, before I became a plumber, I had a job for a year at a quarry. And I used to go into this, it was like a hut on stilts. And a lorry would come out the quarry filled with fresh tarmac before it went out to the job, and I'd have to jump on the back of this lorry, get my shovel out and take 6, I think it was, samples, random samples, and then bring it in onto this metal tray, and then I'd divide it up until I had a tiny little sample that was, you know, an
This is from
average
your
of,
rock technology course.
yeah. And
Why did you pack that in, Pete? Because
I actually like that. No, I actually like that job because you'd follow the lorry around the country and take samples off sites and stuff. But anyway, I'm in this little hut, and it's a metal tray that we're scraping it all on, so it leaves some of the tarmac residue on. And it seemed to me, I don't know if it was at the time, but it seemed new that they got this cleaner in that was like an orange based, I don't know if you know what this is, it was like an orange solvent, smelt really orangey, but it would clean everything off, and that's what the power spray reminds me of.
Oh right, yeah.
It's called Robinson's.
It's like I think it was like some kind of solvent cleaner, but it would literally clean tarmac.
I think I know what you mean. I think there's a product in America called Gojo.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised
I've
if it's
seen that, yeah.
if it's something similar to that. It sounds like the was it a bit more like the granulated?
No, it
type
was just
thing?
like a
It was-
spray,
it
like
was
a liquid, but it was just orange, and it was a new thing that came out while I was working. It's always reminded me of. You know,
see the difference with the power spray. I mean, on the face, they are industrial strength products. So you think, oh God, you know, what on earth's in them to make them clean the way that they do? But you know, like I was saying, you know, it's actually a really delicate balance of a few things that actually. The power spray is cosmetically graded, just like the wipes. So you can actually, you can spray it onto your hands and things like that. It's water based. It's not classified as hazardous or toxic. They're not flammable. So it is like. They are like little tubs of sort of magic, and even the demo, which you guys would have seen to death.
I was going to talk to you about that. So did that start out as like, we'll just do some paint, and then it was like, now we'll put some expanding foam on there? You keep adding every year?
Sort of like one-upman shit, or the big wipe salesmen are going, no, we just put paint and silicone on, right, CT1, I'll do that. Oh, right, okay, right, all right, grease, can put some grease on. It's like, and then
like a bit of competition between the demo guys.
Before you know it, you're caked in all sorts of hazardous substances. But big wipes, it always just takes it, straight off. But, we do it every day, all day, and every single time you sort of do it, you go, oh, bugger me, that is really good, and even us, we see it all the time,
I did it on my face when I came round, remember?
You did, yeah, I remember.
I thought I just made it a bit different, I thought I'll put that on I can't do it now because I've got a beard, but it's like I just did it on my face, and they were like, what are you doing? I was like, well, why not?
I remember
Got
that,
to test the products.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to test the products.
It was lovely and soft, Mark.
No, excellent.
I mean,
Excellent.
with Big Wipes as a business then,
Yeah.
was it early 2000s?
Early 2000s, yeah. My boss is a chap called Nigel Dibbo, and it was his inception. He's oh God, he's going to listen to this, isn't he? He's what I would describe.
Great.
I would describe him as a great British eccentric.
Is that why you've got that yellow house as a? Is that actually the office?
So
Or where's this?
So I'm about to. I actually live in that house.
Wow.
I actually live in that house. So, well, gosh, where to start? All right. So it was actually a bakery.
Yeah.
So the whole site was a bakery, and in 2015 we were actually hoofed out of a shared office block in Marlow in Buckinghamshire. They were going to knock the building down, and they put houses on it. So all the offices inside, all the businesses inside, had to find new premises, and we found this derelict bakery, and we did it up. And on the top floor of that bakery is a 2-bed flat, and then the Big Wipes offices are actually they extend quite a long way out the back. But you are right, it is bright. It is bright yellow. You can't miss it. It's great for ordering pizzas though. Let's just say, the bright
Which
yellow.
house is it? The yellow one.
Yeah, the yellow one. The neighbours weren't too thrilled at first, but I think
Might be able to put a picture of the house up.
I think it's grown. It's grown on them. Yeah, I don't want everyone knowing where I live. But I think it's grown on them. So but it suits us down to the ground. There's enough room there for us to grow, and we've got storage at the back and things like that. So packing for exhibitions is now just a million times easier, especially as we do so.
It's good for marketing as well, because I saw it and was like, is that their actual office? Like a big yellow house? It's something that you're not going to forget.
Yeah, I mean,
as
the
a brand.
T-shirts, the cars, the bloody office, everything that we do goes into sort of everything that we do. I mean, if you strip Wipes back, I said it earlier, when you strip it right back to what it really fundamentally is, desperately dull, it's cleaning wipes.
Something that everybody uses though. It's a bit like a light.
But
Everybody uses a light or a.
Shameless plug there.
No, but it's true though. Like I'm in that same category. When people say to me, "Oh, why do I need a torch?" And it's like, well, why would you need to clean your hands? Because you need to clean your hands.
But that's why
clean your tools.
That's why the daft shirts, the way we conduct ourselves at shows, putting people in, the fun branding, the cars are all liveried up, basically the same as the shirts. It's all. If you've ever been on our social media, which you guys will have, it's light-hearted, it's fun. You have to make the product fun. You have to bring the theatre. Because, like I said, otherwise it is just, wipes the same as any other wipe. And that's why we bring it to life with the demo as well. That's, a real key part. In fact, you have to do the demo in your first interview. You are literally handed, a tube of silicone and some paint. And you
lube it up.
Lube it up.
Social media is quite a big part of what you do because your Twitter account's quite active, probably one of the most active accounts. Like we said before, in the plumbing and heating, sort of, if there's something going on in our what do you call it, in our area on Twitter, Big Wipes are normally involved in the conversation.
Shout out to the beautiful Corinna.
Yeah, it's a good. I think you're one of the best companies with a social media account.
I think that's for me. That's like it shows that it's you on that social media account rather than you've hired someone in to do it for you.
Yeah,
and you can easily sell that, can't you?
Yeah, because they have there's long-term relationships between people.
Yeah.
It's obviously the thing with Corinna is people talk about cake because everyone knows she likes cake, and they've all got there's levels to it. It's not just we're talking to Big Wipes, the company. It's more personal than that. It's I think it's a good tactic. Well, it's not even saying it's a tactic, but it's a good way of running a social media account.
It is. You know what? We keep it all light-hearted, and when you open Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, what you're really looking for in that minute, or what often ends up being 2 hours, is a bit of escapism, because I think at least people's 9 to 5 generally is very mundane. It's the same each day. So when you go in the evening and you have an hour of escapism on social media, you're looking for lightheartedness. You're looking for a brand that you can feel warm and comforted by, something that sort of you can relate to. I mean, look at Sainsbury's and Aldi and Lidl and all the supermarkets. When do they get all their engagement and all their interaction, all their reach? It's when they're jibing at each other. It's when it's light-hearted banter and they're taking. People don't want to, get home from a day, in the corporate world, go on social media and it's just more corporate stuff being jammed down their throats. It is that light-hearted.
But a lot of companies don't get it, do they?
No.
A lot of companies don't get it.
And wait for you to go, you don't get it.
Lee said about your social media accounts today.
Charlotte.
Have we got a giveaway going on at the minute?
Charlotte runs it now, mate. You can't have a go.
Less giveaways, Charlotte.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of your business then, because I see you're in the US as well now. You over in the US?
Yeah, we are. We do have a satellite office in the US in Georgia, a place called Duluth, which is actually just north of Atlanta. But the way the business works over there is it's all done through distributors.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you don't have Big Wipe staff on the ground just driving, because we don't do anything else. We don't get involved in carpet protectors or tapes or sealants or adhesives or gloves or goggles or anything. It's just this.
Yeah. Is there any plans to go into anything else?
The governor is very steadfast in the opinion that this is our core. We're good at it.
Is there any other sort of similar products to this that you've got your eye on? Like I know everybody does hand sanitizer, but something maybe that people still use every day.
I don't know if I can say what we've got coming in the new product development. I'll give it. I'll go. Here we go again. So we've got refill packs coming. Right. So we had.
Is that for these?
Yeah. So in theory, the way the concept works is you keep your tub, and you buy a seal pouch with just the roll of wipes pre-impregnated, and that will be cheaper than buying a new tub. So in theory, you keep your tub, and then you buy a refillable. It's resealable, but you can take the seal off and you can refill
less plastic
it.
as well.
We did less plastic, and it'll be made from a plastic that's 100% recyclable, just like the tubs are. But we actually, interestingly, we're sort of getting sidetracked, but interestingly, like the green economy and this reducing your CO2 footprint and the planet in general, we had refills about 10 years ago, and they utterly bombed. Nobody bought them. They just kept picking up the tubs. You save £1 or you save £1.50 if you just keep. I can't be bothered with that, mate. Just pick up another tub. But I think now is the time, probably, if we're honest, to refill it. I mean, you revisit it. If you look at the sealant companies, with the foil sausages and things like that. And God, you guys would know even better than me, other manufacturers in the industry that are making great strides in, more eco-friendly products. I think if you're going to revisit,
even to import plastic now, like the next few years, there's a plastic tax coming in. So even to import plastic, so if you're not starting to look at stuff like that, and I'm sure even when you go and buy some of these in the future, anything that comes with more plastic, as a consumer, they're going to start charging you for. So not only are they going to tax companies like us to actually bring it in, they'll probably start taxing you if you go into the store and want to buy one of those, as opposed to buying the refill.
Yeah, I noticed recently.
I think customers are more savvy as well, and they don't want to have buying plastic anymore. Single-use plastic.
I think definitely now. I think definitely now, but it'll more so a bit like the sugar tax. So the sugar tax with the Coca-Cola and stuff like that. I mean, has that reduced it, like the plastic bags at checkout? So I think the same thing will happen. We're already starting now to implement stuff so that when the plastic tax comes in, when we're importing stuff, we're not getting a massive penalty for it, or we're making products from recycled plastic. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I think it's got to be. I mean, it's coming in April next year. I mean, we do a lot. You think wipes, you think, wipes, how terrible is wipes, clogging up this and, this, that and the other, and they take years to biodegrade. But as far as we can be at this point in time, the formula's biodegradable. This wipe is made from 100% pure pulpwood fibres from FSC approved forests. It's made of plant extract, so that's actually biodegradable. The tubs are 100% biodegradable. If you're ever lucky enough to come to our office, solar panels on the roof, all the cars are electric or hybrid electric. So, given the circumstances, all our cartons are made from board that comes from FSC approved forests, and it's so we're doing exactly the most that we can, and it is really important. It's important that we get the plastic bit right as well. In the time to come.
Yeah, I noticed. I bought the new Jean Paul Gaultier recently, and that is a refillable, call it perfume or whatever spray. But traditionally they're not, are they? They're sealed. You can't ever get into them. But now they're making those refillable. So something people are obviously. Well, it's either being pushed or people want it. The customers want it. So
yeah.
So I mean, what going forward then? What's the, post-COVID? Obviously, you guys have, you're in absolutely everywhere. Travis Perkins, I go in like other builders, merchants, build base. I see like stuff all over the place. What are your future plans then as a business? Obviously, if you're not going to diversify into other stuff, you've got the other sort of add-on sales to this. Where does the boss? The eccentric Brit see the company going.
See Big Wipes. Big Wipes is like his fun time. It's like his plaything. He sort of comes to shows, does some demos, skips off. He's absolutely amazing. But in terms of we've got a lot of work to do in the independents. Yeah, the nationals are pretty well wrapped up, if I don't say so myself, as it were. But we're pretty strong there. But we've got some work to do in the independents. So there, and you're at shows like today and you think, everyone knows about Big Wipes. Everyone knows about it. Surely there's nobody that doesn't know about Big Wipes. But today, I met loads of people that went, I've never seen a demo. No, I've never seen Big Wipes.
Where are these people living?
What do they do? So, that it...
They live on the moon.
How can they have not seen? Who was the guy I talked to you about? The South African old chap.
Oh, David. God.
What's your business? What's your business?
Hey, what's your business?
Irish?
No, he's a Safa.
Sorry, mate.
South African. God, his story, I won't get into his story is a special one. He was door-to-door selling in Botswana and South Africa in sort of the 60s. Pretty, what I imagine to be a pretty scary experience, but also I think quite fun. I don't know how people haven't sort of seen him. I mean, that is quite, that is sort of quite amazing. But in terms of the next steps, in terms of a saturation point on this product, you probably say, well, is there really one? 4 million people on the tools in the UK, and if everybody uses a tub of wipes a month, that's the opportunity. Are we selling 4 million tubs a month? No. So we've still got lots of work to do.
Q Alex's killer question: how many are you selling, and how much are you making?
How many tubs do you sell? See where I was leading that there. Yeah. How many tubs do you sell?
I walked straight into that.
Give us a number then. Tubs. I mean, look, because the thing is as well. What's how many different coloured top tubs you've got?
So we've got the red, the green, and the black are part of the core. The core antiviral sort of Pro Plus. Trade range. So you've got, the multi-purpose, which is sort of a 3-layered non-woven quilted power fabric. It's like an entry grade product. It's very tough, very tear resistant. And then these are what we sort of describe as our performance products. this specifically for your hands, or rather specifically, they'll all clean everything, but this is best for your hands because it's got that textured side, so it grabs the muck. This is for your surfaces. So it's super absorbent. It's almost like cotton, almost like a very thin towel. Counters, worktops, window frames, boiler cases, tiles, ceramic, any non-porous sealed surface, you prefer the multi-surface. In terms of how many tubs we sell, it's more than sort of seven figures. So there you go. I'll leave you there. A year.
It's a lot of tubs.
It's a lot of wipes, yes. And every tub's got 80 wipes in.
Imagine selling that many torches. That's like scan grip level.
Right there.
It's probably 8 figures on the torches.
Wish it was. I'd be sunning my nipples in Barbados today. Wouldn't be on the podcast.
No. With a load of table tappers, no.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Big Wipes is always a brand that whenever I go to a show, you're always like 10 people deep. You've got stuff set up at the sides and it's been absolutely battered because everybody buys it. So it's always been like, when we started this, I always wanted to get the brand on. Like, I love the branding.
Yeah.
Everybody's super
And
friendly
importantly, you're always selling something and there's a decent show offer on, because like we said before, when tradesmen go to a show, they want to buy something and they want to get a deal. So,
Dave.
I mean, that's why we do these bagged kit offers. It's a bit of everything that you need really to, restock your van, or if you've never seen Big Wipes before, it's a great starter kit. So we really try and push these and add value, when you're willing to part with enough cash to, invest in the system. We're not really interested in selling single tubs. I want to sell you everything. But if you go for everything, you get a bloody fantastic deal. And that's the sort of point of the whole thing. And we don't sell to end users. That's not our business model. We sell into the merchants, we sell into the independents, and we sell into distributors, and then they sell to the end users. So at the shows, that is the only time you can buy stock, direct from us. So that's why we make such a big deal out of the whole thing.
awesome.
So, I mean, back over to you then, Andy.
Yeah, let's take us back in time, 50, 60 years. Where did it all start for you, Andy Cam?
I just had the Hovis advert in my mind there.
Well, he was in the Hovis advert. He was the loaf.
No,
He was the loaf of bread.
I feel like you have to start the next bit during the war.
Yeah.
Is that
During the war?
Back in my day.
Well, when I do actually think back, it is black and white.
Yeah.
That's how far back it is, Pete. Thank you very much. When I
How did you get into plumbing?
Before I was a plumber, I used to work on a quarry. And
What is it with you? What is it with you two?
This van used to come in, and I used to get tarmac off, and I used to put it in my handkerchief and smell it in the shed, and that was my job. And then sometimes I used to follow.
Do you know? I can believe this, because in that little hut, you used to go up this. It's like a ladder, and you're on stilts, and the amount of porn in that hut, because there was men worked at the quarry would have to sit in this hut all day.
What about a bit of tarmac or concrete makes you want to get upstairs and stroke one?
Because
People
That's why we're on stilts.
Because you go up and you'd wait for there'd be like a big contract. Let's say there's been a road being laid, they need samples.
You'd wait for samples of the M25 and then go upstairs.
One lorry would come in at 9 a.m.
provide your own sample?
One would come in at 9, you need a sample off that one, then the next one might be 11, and then 3. You'd have to be in there waiting for these lorries. So all that was in there was an armchair, a toasty maker, and just a shitload of porn.
And 3 razzles and an escort. Rhino Trade Insurance sponsors Trade Legends, the best insurance for insuring your van and your tools. Keep them safe, and you know what they say, don't be a fool, insure your tool. So what was I going to say? Back to sort of like, obviously you've got into plumbing, and you sort of, you're well respected, well sort of known. Obviously your own little catchphrase, I love plumbing. I mean, in terms of sort of what you're up to now, because I know COVID, all that sort of stuff. I know you started over at Fix Radio. How long ago was it?
About a couple of years ago now. It's just coming up to 2 years. So he started on Fix Radio, and basically I got a phone call off this guy, and he says, I want you to come for an interview, Andy. I said, mate, I've been self-employed for like 38 years. I don't need an interview. I don't want a job. He went, no, it's for a radio company. I'm thinking it's one of the lads messing around. So I'm like taking the out of this guy.
Yeah.
Thinking that it's one of my mates, got somebody else to do it. Then soon realised it was actually a real person, a real radio show. And then you have to sort of backpedal, don't you, then? Because 1 minute you're taking the piss out of him, the next minute you've got to be back normal again. And then I went down to London for the interview, and he said, I've got a couple of other people to interview. One was Pete, obviously. He didn't get the job. And
It's too good looking for radio.
Couldn't fit through the door. And then, so yeah, they offered me the job. So yeah, and then basically what I've done is just a heating and plumbing show. It's on a Wednesday. It used to be on 6 while 7. And we used to go to London and do it live, which is quite scary when you're doing something live, because if you're audioing something,
You can't mention.
Yeah, you can't swear.
Is this live? This isn't live.
Yeah, your boss is listening.
He's listening right now. He's just
like
tapped in. But yeah, so it's so that's where it came from. So it's just heating and plumbing show. I mean, I've had Pete on there a few times. I've even had you on.
I've been on there as well. Live from one of my bedrooms at home.
Yeah. So it was like basically just a heating and plumbing show. So it's great for me because it's getting the word out there about the plumbing. I mean, at the end of the day, all I want to do is try and help people to do the plumbing and make it easy for themselves.
Would you say sort of like installer then for your sort of trade? Do you think like all these things, like you being on Fix, you doing the things you do on social or with different companies making stuff, or you working with different brands, like even working sometimes with these guys, Velocity, all that stuff. Do you think that has helped to elevate plumbing then, in a sense? Do you think all of this is actually, it means that when you go to these shows, there is a bit more camaraderie with everybody? There's more of a community feel to it now than, you used to say, like you go into a wholesaler and you just go, and then the other person go.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously now everybody's discussing or talking and...
Yeah, I mean, it was like, harping back to that sort of thing, it was like, you'd walk in a plumber's merchants and you'd say hello to somebody, and like you said, it was like, very cloak and dagger. You got much work on? Loads. What?
Sitting outside for 3 hours.
Yeah, and then you'd see them like they'd be hiding things that they were buying and stuff, and it also become very cloak and dagger with, people who'd got like things to pass on to apprentices. They wouldn't even tell the apprentice how to do things because they wanted to keep it for themselves. Whereas now, social media, YouTube, that kind of stuff. Obviously, Pete does a lot of videos how to do stuff. It's very easy to just download something, have a quick look at how. I mean, anything that you want to do now, anything, you can have a look on YouTube and it'll tell you exactly how to do it, which I think is great, because obviously it makes it easier for other plumbers, and we're talking about plumbing now, but it makes it easier for other plumbers then to, look at the stuff that you do and then emulate you, and then you get loads of feedback of people going, oh, that's fantastic, I can't believe that's made a right difference to me. I mean, even silly things like the backhoe spanner, put it onto a valve and turn the whole span around with a little hole, and it's as if you've just invented the wheel.
Yeah, I've said it before.
I thought everybody knew it.
Yeah, it's things that you do. Even like today I was doing pipe bending challenge, and everyone does it differently. They'll either start a different way or they'll hold the bender a different way.
The one guy with a 90-degree angle, and then you were like, no, you've done the 90 first, mate.
Well, that's because that's the complete opposite the way I would do it, and he made it more difficult for himself, but he still managed to do the job. He still managed to pull the bend, but different things like that. And the way, like I've said before, the way when I went to work with another plumber that wasn't the guy I trained with, the way he stored his fittings in his van, I'd never seen it before. And nowadays, guys can see tips from Andy, old school plumber. Yeah, old school, old.
Oh, all right, I'm old.
Old man plumber.
Old man.
You get tips from Andy. You get tips from me. You get tips from someone from London, from Scotland. I mean, some of the plumbing stuff they have in Scotland is completely different to what we work on. So even for me, I'll see something that, let's say, Ryan Mills is working on. I think, what's that? I've never seen that before. And it's nice. You can get the amalgamation of all these people, and you can learn from them all. So it's good for that.
I mean, other stuff that you're doing as well, because I've seen you do a few bits with, is it Snap It?
Yeah, Snap It. Yeah, it's a good company.
That's a business where, obviously fast food, Deliveroo, all those types of companies, Uber Eats, that's all come out, and now Snap It's a company which is for getting parts, is it?
Yeah. So basically, if you're inside the M25, it's in London at the moment. It's an app. So basically, if you go to a job, you park your van up, you've got yourself to the job in London, which is a nightmare. Obviously, the traffic, parking, that kind of stuff. If you want, if you've you've not got a few parts on the van that you need, instead of you going out to get them, you go on the app, order them, pay for them, and then what they do is they find the nearest merchant that's got that stuff to you, and then they send a delivery kind of driver from wherever that is, the closest one, to pick those parts up and bring it to you within 30 minutes. So you haven't got to leave your car parking space. You haven't got to troll around London. You've not got to ring anybody up. They do it all for you.
You can carry on working as well. You're not going to leave the job. So
yeah, it's good. It's really good. Or you could do something like, you're going to be somewhere at 3 o'clock. You could order a part to be delivered there at 2:30 for the customer to pick up. You get there, pick the part up and fit it, rather than having to go to the merchant first and then pick it up. So there's loads of different ways that it works.
Yeah. I mean, how did that come about then? How did you get involved with
to be honest with you, I was on the train going to London to do the radio show live, and this guy phoned me up called Victor. He said, "Alan, you don't know me, Andy. I've seen you on social media. Can I meet you in London?" I said, "I'm just coming down there now." He said, "Oh, I'll meet you then at the station." We went for lunch, and then that's where sort of the relationship blossomed. And all I want to do is try and help him. He's the nicest guy. I mean, I think you should get him on here, mate, to be honest with you, because he's the nicest guy, and he's so clued up. And it's just like, them guys you meet and you think, he's going somewhere. He's going to go somewhere.
I think it's a great idea, because especially if you're like Manchester, Birmingham, clean air zones now, where
that's the thing,
you don't really want to drive in there, especially if you're like doing a job on the outskirts somewhere, and the only place you can get it is a wholesaler in the centre. Like, that's going to become a lot more prominent now. But you look at Uber Eats and you think, why didn't I come up with that idea?
Yeah. It's like me
to come up with it for plumbing. I'm sure you could cross that over to electrical and stuff like that.
I think that I've talked to him a little bit, and I think that what he's thinking of doing is a little bit like, say your nan wakes up on a Sunday morning, she wants to do a bit of gardening, and she's not got a fork and a spade or whatever.
Yeah.
She'll just go on there, go like that, pay for it, and it'll be delivered to her house in half an hour, so she can do whatever she wants without her having to go out in the traffic. So I think that's what it's heading towards, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And also he's thinking of going into different cities, like you said, Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
What were you going to say on it?
That's like me, like in a small village.
Yeah.
If I'm on a big job and I'm under pressure, I don't want to leave, I have to ring my dad, send him to the merchants, and he brings me the wrong stuff. So it'd be ideal for me to have something like that. But is it
where you live though? I think like the amount of people that would use us, like somewhere like London, you've got to have a high density of people to make it actually pay.
Yeah. It's obviously working in London. It's whether he takes the next step, say to Birmingham next, and then Manchester, and then can it come to somewhere like Leicester?
Yeah. Like London, trying to park is a nightmare unless you've got like a permit. And then even when you do get somewhere, you think, I've got to go somewhere. You go and you come back and you've got nowhere to park. So if you're on a job,
if you go away and they come back again, you have to pay again, don't you? So it's like it can be expensive that way. But it's not like they charge you a fortune for the fittings either. It's not like they say, you buy this, instead of it being £3, it's 28 quid.
Yeah,
it's not like that. It's when I go into the office, and it's massive. They've got all the guys, round all on computers, and they have a big massive TV screens with everything that's going on. So they can see who's going where, what's going why, and all that kind of stuff. So to see it and see the operation, it's very easy to say, why didn't I think of that? But to put that into how it works, and because he's been to all the different merchants all around London area, and he's had to try and get them on board, hasn't he?
I mean, what's his background then? Is he like a software engineer? Or
no, he actually he came to, I think he's from Ukraine, I'm not 100% sure. He came over and he was working on a building site, labouring in London, and then he saw that the plumbers were earning decent money, so he then went to be a plumber's labourer, let's say. He just wanted to get into that. Then he found that he could, he did his gas course, his plumbing course, his gas, he got all that, and then he went on to start doing, a lot of the high-rise flats and stuff like that. And then he was finding it notoriously difficult to get money off people, and sometimes people rip you off and that kind of stuff. And I think, reading between the lines, he'd been looking at things like, say you've got a restaurant or a hotel in London, let's say, and your staff don't turn up. There was another app where you could go onto it and order staff, and they'd be with you within the hour, and then that guy sold that off for millions. And I think he saw that, and I think that's sort of, I'm not 100% sure, you can ask him if he comes on, but I think that's where he's sort of come from, and that's where he's heading towards.
I mean, so obviously you're doing sort of bits with them, you're doing bits with Fixed Radio. What other stuff have you because obviously the advent of social media, you're doing way more than what you did maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. If you so for people that are in our trade, the way, I think you'll agree, tell me if I'm wrong, but the way it works is we create content on our page because we like the job, we like promoting the plumbing and heating industry, and then a company like Victor's, Snap It, will see Andy's page and think, I like this guy, he's funny, does a good job, and then he'll approach you and say, I've got this product, do you want to have a look at it? And Andy will say, tell me about it. And if he thinks it's something he wants to help him with, then he'll, go for lunch with him. That's if you concentrate on growing your social media page by doing what you do and what you're good at and showing your personality, then these companies will come to you. Like you came to me and said, can I send you a torch? And I said, no.
It's shit.
And now he's seen the light.
That's the way it sort of happens.
100%. I think that, that's right. I mean, it's like the same with anything. I always say to people, why have you employed me? And they say, because you're an old bastard and you're cheap. And I just say, well, that's fine. But no, they usually say it's because you are you. So
and you'll fit there. They'll have like a company ethos. Like if you're a guy that's, I don't know, swearing all the time, a company that doesn't like people that swear, they won't approach you. But if they like what you do, obviously they'll look at like you look at the followers and the engagement and stuff like that. But more importantly, they've got to like the person and what they're putting. I think
the other thing is that with me, obviously, all my followers are plumbers. Yeah. Like you, all the followers are plumbers. So if I'm a, like say, a merchant or something like that, I would go to that person because it's like laser marketing, isn't it?
It's targeted advertising, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're all plumbers. So if I do something on plumbing, I only do things on plumbing that I would ever use myself, or I do use.
Yeah.
I mean, I do get approached by other companies that I wouldn't want to help, or well, not the case I wouldn't want to help them. It's just that I wouldn't use their stuff. Yeah. So I always just say, look, I'm too busy. I'd never say, no, it's rubbish that. But I always try to be true to myself with everything that I do, and I think that's what you've got to be. You can't just be an advertising monkey because you get caught out. You'd upset yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So we've skipped forward to what you're doing now, but so I want to know when you became, obviously you would have had an apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And then you worked for a company.
Yeah. Yeah. So my apprenticeship started back in 1979 when I left school.
Were you born?
Wasn't even born.
Yeah, he wasn't even born, Pete.
I was waiting for that.
The funny thing is for me is that we're going to talk to some guys tomorrow, aren't we? There's some younger trainees and stuff like that.
Yeah. So tomorrow at the show we're doing it's like student day.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of hours, different points of the day where we're talking to students like the next generation that are coming into
Yeah. So when I was back in 1979, I was taught to wipe lead joints. Not that we didn't fit lead pipe, but we had to join onto lead pipe. So we were taught how to wipe lead joints.
Yeah.
And so now, obviously, gone up 40 odd years into the future, we're now press fitting copper pipe. Yeah. And it's like, it's great. It's fantastic. And way back then, everything was material orientated, i.e. your materials were the most expensive part of the job. Now it's labour. Labour's become very expensive. So anything that can save people time, money and effort, your big wipes, your unilights, anything like that, obviously it's going to save us time, money and effort, then that's what happens, isn't it? And so we've got better tools. It's still a ball ache job and it's hard work, but you've got a lot more easier ways of doing things. There's a lot of new tools to do a bit of everything, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. So you worked for a company, did your apprenticeship. How long before you went on your own, or did you went into a partnership?
What was your apprenticeship like? Because we've had so many mixed.
It was horrendous. Well, it wasn't horrendous. I don't know why you stick at it now, because most lads, if you're an apprentice, they want you to pick them up from home, drop them off at, they want to finish at 5. It wasn't like that when I started. I had to get up at something like about 5:30 to get to the bus stop at the top of our road. That then took me, it was the only bus that came at something like 6:30. It took me 20 minutes to get to near where he lived, and then I had to walk over a mile to his house, and I had to be there at 7:30 every day. And then they used to just drop you off, whether either at his house or somewhere near a bus stop, or you'd be working in Rotherham and I live in Sheffield, they just drop you off in Rotherham town centre. You had to get 2 or 3 buses home.
God.
And that's what it was like. And then the actual apprenticeship itself was 1 day and 2 nights a week for 5 years. So that was the actual apprenticeship that we did. And so we started off, I think there was 45 of us on the course.
Yeah.
And then when we finished doing the advanced craft, which was another 1.5 years after the 3 years apprenticeship, I think there were 4 of us. So it had whittled down right down to the 4 people. Whereas
when anybody moans about their apprenticeship now, I'll just be like...
Yeah, and it was different and it was difficult. And it's like the radiators used to come and they'd got plugs in, the iron plugs, and you couldn't get them out. You couldn't even get them out, So it was horrendous. The boilers were cast iron. You had 2 of you to lift them on a wall, fixing them to walls and stuff like that, because sometimes the walls are a bit, hard to fasten to. It was just a nightmare. Balance flues, couldn't drill them. So then I think I was about 21. I just finished college, and I went over to Guernsey to work over there for 6 months because my mates were going over every year, but I couldn't go because I was at college.
Yep.
And my mum always said, you keep going to college, mate. You get your certificate, and I did, and I'm glad she was right. And so I went over there for 6 months, and I just did jobs like working behind a bar, pot washing, that kind of stuff. Came back from that. I worked in London for a bit, maybe 8 months. Driving all around London, working there, fitting heating for a company called Harp Heating. And then I went on my own when I was probably about 23.
Yeah.
And I was subcontracting then. So all we did then, back in those days, was fit central heating. So you fit 2 central heatings on your own every week. So it's hard work, but quite rewarding because the money was quite good. So you'd start work, I'd be definitely on the job. I started work at 8 o'clock, and I'd probably be there at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. And I'd do that for 6 days a week, and then I'd probably work Sunday as well. So I did work a lot of weekends and stuff like that, which is why I always try and tell people now not to work weekends. Just work your 5 days, and if you can't earn enough in 5 days, you ain't charging enough. So that's what I'm trying to get over to the people now, because it is hard work. You don't want to be working 7 days a week, and then a lot of people I know, if they've been working 7 days a week, they've worked the ghoulies off, and then by the time they've got enough money to take it easy, the wife and kids have gone. They've gone somewhere else.
When was the last time you heard someone say ghoulies?
Ghoulies.
Hey, when was the last time you heard someone say that?
Well, I had to wash it down, didn't I?
I love it.
I try to have a bit of fun with the stuff that I do, because I think that sometimes life, work, it's too serious, isn't it?
Well, we went to. Did we get to Edinburgh?
We went to Glasgow.
Went to one of these trade shows, but is it Glasgow? So I said to him, I'll pick you up service station at Sheffield. So I drove from Leicester to Sheffield. I said, I'll drive the first bit. I think I lasted about 20 minutes before I was falling asleep.
I'd say 5 minutes.
So he took over, and then it's a long way to Glasgow, isn't it? It's hours. And we got 2 or 3 hours down the road. You were nodding, so I said, I'll take over. And I lasted another, it must have been 5 minutes. And I'd say, I've got to pull over because I was falling asleep. But on the way back, it was in the morning, and we didn't stop laughing the whole way. We were crying. Some of the stories, the Kestrel one is one I remember. There was one where he used to try and outdo his mate he worked with. Yeah. It's too disgusting for
no. Oh no, that was really bad. But
yeah.
No, what this was what we used to do is when we went into work together, we were partners, so we were working on jobs together.
Yeah.
If I got in the job first, this guy was called Keith. If I got in there first, I'd say, I'm Andy and this is Steve, or this is Dave, or whatever. And then the customer would be calling. They had to be Dave the whole time, right? So because obviously you can't go in and go, no, I'm Keith, because it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So he was working on one job, and he said he called me Neil, right? So it was when the young ones were out, Neil, hey Neil, they'd be on this job 2 or 3 days. Guy comes to the bottom of the stairs. I'm at the top, and I'm getting fed up now, being called Neil. So he goes, he stood at the top, he stood there like, I'm at the top, and he went, Neil, do you want a cup of tea? And I went, I'm not Neil, I'm Andy. He went, yeah, you are Andy, aren't you, Neil? Do you want a cup of tea? So all I could hear was my mate in the kitchen. He had to run outside to the van, and I could hear him laughing in the back. And I just thought, you just might have go with it, haven't you?
That's the thing I miss most about when I stopped with my apprenticeship, because I was working with Kev, and he was like my best mate, and we had a laugh. Working on your own, that's the thing you miss most. Having someone to bounce off banter all day. When you go on site and there's like plasterers, electricians, it's just all day, it's just banter. The day goes fast, don't it? You just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it does, and you can have a laugh. And that's why I realistically started doing videos and stuff like that, because I was
social media is like an extension of that, isn't
because
it?
people would like, I'm having a nightmare day. Oh no, let's have a look at break or dinner time, see what he's doing, see what they're doing. So I try and do sometimes try and do funny stuff. I know I'm not very funny, but I used to try and do funny stuff to try and alleviate their boredom and make it so that their working day was a bit better.
And you feel like you're not alone because you got your mates. Someone said to me, I think it was today at the trade show, he said, he likes watching me when I've had a bad day because I put it on my Instagram story, or because it makes him feel better about having a bad day.
Everybody has a shit day though from time to time.
Yeah.
But like you've saying work from home, you lasted 5 weeks, I lasted 3.
Yeah. But people use Instagram almost exclusively to show all the positives.
Yeah, definitely, which is why when we show the bad
see
stuff,
the truth.
like my YouTube video on Sunday, go check it out.
Shameless plug. PB plumber down at the bottom.
Yeah, link will be somewhere.
Swipe up.
I put a pipe through a wall and I cut it wrong, but I still showed it. I thought, I made a mistake. Because not many people admit to their mistakes and show it, and people like that.
What about when you actually cut that pipe live and you was videoing it? And
Yeah, that's my most popular, one of my most popular videos, cut through a live water main. And I wasn't going to show that because it was a bit stupid and it was
It's a lot stupid. Pete.
yeah, but I sent it to one of the WhatsApp groups I was in. It's like, lads, look what I've just done, and they all loved it and they were all laughing. I thought, oh, I'll just stick it out there, and that was probably one of the first ones where I'd shown where I'd gone really wrong. And it was one of the most popular things I've ever done.
I think the other thing that, like what we've done, is sometimes you'll plan a video. I'm doing this, I'm going to do that, and you take ages to plan it. You get it all ready, and you do it all, and you think it's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
And nobody really bothers about it. And then I just passed my. I remember the best one I've ever done. I think it's about 10 seconds long, and I gave my apprentice the phone. I said, just video this, and I was cutting through a 4-inch pipe in the ceiling.
Yeah, that's one of the first ones I remember.
And I said, yeah, that's. I was going to say, oops. And I said, that's ripping off my elbow, and that's had thousands of views, and it was 10 seconds long, so I wasn't even going to do it.
Yeah.
You probably that's probably where you're going wrong. The ones where you actually mess up on,
Yeah.
are probably the ones that you're going to get.
So when I first met Andy, you came down to a job near.
Yeah,
you rang me and said, I'm
working,
coming down here, and I went to meet him. But the first videos I remember you doing were you were drilling above, and obviously you get covered. It's just things that you can relate to, things that happen at work that you can relate to. And he was getting covered, and he's just doing this dance. It was so funny. Yeah. And then there was another one where you were you coring a hole outside, and you were covered in brick dust, and it's just things like that. But he makes them funny, and just parts of the job we all hate.
Yeah.
One of the worst things is you're working on something above your head and there's water dripping into your armpit. It's like Chinese water torture. It's horrible.
You've had to do it sometimes where your pants get wet,
yeah,
don't they? Because it's and it's dripping off. And what is it?
Well, the ladies watching.
I was waiting for you to go. That's your age.
Yeah, that's it.
That's your age.
Prostate. Yeah, I know.
That's your leaky bag.
This is your cue to check your prostate.
I know it's like that.
Don't forget.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of obviously like you guys. Anything else? Should we wrap it there and say anything else that they want to add? Anything that they're up to?
Have you got a message you want to say? Have you got any? Have
you got a message?
I mean, we've asked you if you've got anything new. If you've got anything new coming out, or if you're going to any shows that you think people.
Yeah, we've got we're doing the Tool Fair series. The Tool Fair Elex. I forget which leads Elex Tool Fair.
I don't know what they name them. Well, just call it a Tool Fair.
Yes, Tool Fair. We call it Tool Fair, but I think Elex was the original. Anyway, we got Newport next month, we got Sandown in November, and we got Exeter in December. That's not the typical schedule for them. Actually, it's all asked about face because of COVID, like everything else. But then we've got Juice and Live as well in December. Paint and Decorating Show end of November. It just sort of goes on and on and on, really. Yeah, but no, we're delighted to be back. Yeah. And
how many shows do you do?
I do virtually all of them.
I was going to say, is that like a tactic? You want to be present at every show?
Yeah, I mean, we're back in sort of 2015, 16. We had like a marketing review. Snore, but we basically.
Tell us what happened in that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's riveting. Strap yourselves in. But we basically decided that we weren't going to spend any money in printed press anymore, and it all went into social media and shows. Because the only two ways that you can get close to end users, like I said, that's not typical. We sell to the merchants. So to get to end users and actually find out what they really want, it was shows and it was social media, and we've sort of never looked back. So shows are really important to us, and we do installer, we do the painting and decorating show. We do Elex, so it's electricians, it's builders, it's plumbers. We got painters and decorators. All bases are covered. Yeah. We don't discriminate.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you got anything?
We do.
Heartfelt message to you fans watching? You got any advice for apprentices watching?
Yeah. Sort of, apprentices, keep your hands out your pockets. I hate that. Apprentices with hands in your pockets.
You can't tell an apprentice to stay off his phone.
I was going to say,
you are. That is what you do.
That's my job, and I do that. So if he is on his phone, right?
If he dare touch his phone.
I basically used to, when I used to leave the job, I used to get my apprentice, and it might sound really Dickensian now, but maybe 5 years ago, I used to say, "Give me your phone." And he'd give me his phone, and I'd take it with me to wherever, give him the jobs to do, and then I'd come back and give him his phone back, because I know that if he didn't, he'd just be on his phone all the time. So, yeah, hands up, shouldn't really be doing that. And also, I had an apprentice who kept putting his hands in his pockets, so I cut his pockets off with a Stanley knife. So he couldn't put them in. So that's apprentice-wise. if you're working,
brilliant.
If you're working and I'll tell you the other one that was really funny. If anybody came and they'd got a little rip in the jeans, because they used to be wearing jeans back in them days, I used to get it and then rip the trousers or whatever so they couldn't wear them again. And he was stood on the back of the van, he was tying something on the roof, and one of his pockets was hanging off the back of his jeans. So I got my hands in his pockets to pull his pockets off.
Pulled his
And
own trousers.
it just pulled two big zips right down his trousers. So I'd got his pockets were around his ankles, and all his bum were hanging out and all that kind of stuff. It's quite funny. But yeah, so that's for your apprentices. Yeah. Always think ahead. Think what that guy is going to need next. What tools does he need? What fittings does he need? Don't ask him too many questions because that'll do his head in. So, try and be one step in front of him all the time. It might get a bit boring just stood there watching, but you ain't ready to do it yet. It takes a while before we actually can let you on the blow lamps and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For us older people who are out there working, if you've got a business or you're setting up a business, always make sure that you know exactly how much you have to earn every day, every week, every month and every year to keep your business afloat. Don't just wing it and think, I need 200 quid a day, because you might be 50, 60 quid a day out, So work out your costs, your insurance, all your overheads, and then work from there. And don't be afraid to charge people, and don't do mates rates, but don't do things for free. That's one
Waiting
for me.
for you to look at me then. Radiators, your house.
Radio. Yeah, the radio house, yeah. But no, I mean, I've done lots of work for family and friends for free, and it doesn't ever get reciprocated. So just be careful, in that aspect as well.
Cool. So we're going to do the fastest lap.
You wanted to tap the table. Fastest lap. Should we? So for everybody listening on audio, this is the segment where we've got both of our guests to do a fastest time around the Bahrain circuit on the F1 2020 game.
I'm sweating, honestly.
And I'm just going to open this up and let's have a little cheeky look.
To be fair, it was raining when I did it.
It's
And I was blindfolded.
So first up is Mr. Andy Cam.
Oh, I got excited.
And you did it, Andy. In a one. One.
Oh,
3.
Oh dear.
8, 5, 4, and you've still beat PB Plumber. So I'll get Pete to stick you over there with your customary slap on the board.
That was a nice leisurely drive you did there, Andy.
Well,
You've taken in the scenery of the desert.
Van.
Taken in the scenery of the desert. That's what it was.
Does he get credit for his 360? He managed to spin the car
Did he?
on the track. Yeah, I think he get credit for that.
Well, we take 10 seconds off that, and you're still above PB Plumber. Every week.
Who's doing it? Who keeps doing it?
Oh, next up, we'll just put you down. Did we put Dave on there? Yeah, Dave Nipex. So we put Jack. Big wipes. You did it in a 1.
Okay.
0, 3, 5, 7, 3. So you've just beat Andy.
Commiseration.
We get you
That's
on.
not fair. I expected. It's not fair that.
That's not exactly a lightning lap for me either.
Have you noticed every time you put one up, Pete, about 3 seconds later, you have to then move it down every single time. So well done on that. The next bit that we're going to go and do is we're going to go and throw 6 darts for you. 6 darts for you. We then ask everybody at home who who threw the highest score. So we asked them to guess that, and they'll win like a bundle prize, which the Big Wipe stuff is going to be in.
I don't want to upset anybody, but if you are listening, I've played darts against Keith Della, Gary Anderson, Bobby George, just to name a few, just in case you want to decide who's going to be the best.
So there you go.
I don't know who any of those people are.
For this week's Trade Legends episode, we have a fantastic Big Wipes Unilight giveaway. From Big Wipes, we have the Power Pack All-in-One Cleaning Kit. From Unilight, we are giving away an SLR 1000 and a mini tripod. And as always, a crate of Trade Legends beers. And for our main prize, a £250 voucher from Power Tool Mate Prizes. To find out how you can win all of these prizes and for full details, head on over to our website, www.tradelegends.uk.
So first up, we will have Andy, the assassin, Cam.
A lot quiet now. Oh, let me get my leg out. Can't bend my legs, I've been stood up for 2 days.
Your bag's getting all squashed again.
Do you want me to get your helper for you?
I won't sit there, mate.
I'm moving, don't worry.
Drum roll, please.
That's not bad.
Cow Vorderman. Cow Vorderman has to go in and total up the score. 180!
I don't think that was very good.
Next up,
Come on, Jack.
Juicy Jack from Big Wipes.
That's my fallback.
Juicy Jack from Big Wipes here.
All right, here.
If you want to be marinated with any kind of wipe, Juicy Jack is your man.
Yeah, Big Wipes formula.
Oh!
Good start.
Ow! Ah, my leg. Just in case. Yeah, there's that one there. It's on him there.
Ooh.
Oh.
Good. That's when you'll do it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dart down.
Scores on the doors. Have you got the scores?
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
Is it close?
Dun, 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 dun.
Sweating now.
Are you going to get the double over him? That's the question. Dave from Nipex got the double over Nick Bundy, and he was fuming.
Playing well today, so we're going to have a go.
Did you just say you're playing well?
Getting a good group in. Look at the group in.
Yeah, but
It's the overall score, Pete. It's the scores on the doors, mate.
That was good.
So, I don't think we patted the table. You patted it more than me.
I think it's him.
Bunch of table patters.
Yeah.
So we're going back to the Rico, to
Yes.
the casino. Bit of dinner, bit of more drinking. Do it all again at the show tomorrow, and then we're back tomorrow night for another podcast.
we are indeed.
Another plumbing podcast.
Yeah, it's a plumbing double special.
Yeah, a lot of plumbers in town.
So, yeah, thank you very much for coming on. And thank you very much to you as well. Also, thank Karina.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, for me, it's been great because I've seen you and I've used all your products, but to listen to exactly what they are and what goes into them, because we just get them, don't wipe your hands, it's done. But to realise that there's a lot more that goes into it than that, and so yeah, cheers, Jack. Thanks a lot, and thanks,
Thank
Alex.
you very much for having me. Yeah, no, it's
Thank
been
you.
great.
See you next time.
All done.
Thank you for listening to the Trade Legends podcast. Bloody marvellous. With thanks to our sponsors, Church Farm Brewery, the best beers in town. Also, Power Tool Mate. If you want to get your hands on a really good tool, it's the only place to shop. Lastly, our good friends Fix Radio, the only radio station specifically for the trade in the UK.